In this video, we're going to look at the concept of electrolysis for chemistry. This is another important aspect of chemistry. Alright, so ensure you stay to the end of this video as I will be simplifying this concept of electrolysis for you guys. So having known that, let's go into the details of the video. Okay, so you're looking at electrolysis. Okay, now note that electrolysis uses an electrical current to cause a reaction. So during electrolysis, an electric current is passed through an electrolyte. An electrolyte is simply a molten or a dissolved ionic water compound. So it could be sodium chloride, it could be hydrochloric acid. Any molten or dissolved ionic compound can be considered as an electrolyte. Can also be sodium hydroxide, can be sulfuric acid, and the rest of them. Now, let me draw a simple electrolytic cell to show you guys what's happening in an electrolytic cell. Okay, this is a simple electrolytic cell. Alright, this is just a sketching. My diagram may not be perfect or nice. Just a simple diagram to show you guys an electrolytic cell, to show you what it is made up of. Okay. Alright, now this is a simple electrolytic cell. Okay. Now, in this electrolytic cell, we have what we call the anode and the cathode. Okay, so in an electrolytic cell, we have the anode and the cathode. Okay, so let's call this our cathode, and let's call this our anode. Okay, so let's call our electrolytes in this electrolytic cell hydrochloric acid. Okay, so this is an aqueous solution. Alright, so the hydrochloric acid dissolved in water. Now, note that in electrolysis or electrolytic cell, the anode is positively charged, whereas the cathode is negatively charged. Okay, so take note of this. The anode is a positive electrode, is positively charged, whereas the cathode is a negative electrode, is negatively charged. Now note again that at the anode, that's the positive electrode, oxidation occurs at the anode, whereas at the cathode, the negative electrode, reduction occurs at the cathode. Okay, very, very important concepts on how to differentiate anode from cathode in an electrolytic cell. Okay, so at the anode, oxidation occurs, at the cathode, reduction occurs. So the anode is positively charged and the cathode is negatively charged. Now, note again that during electrolysis, the positive ions in the electrolytes, for instance, our electrolyte here is hydrochloric acid. So the positive ion, which is the hydrogen ion, will move towards the cathode, okay, the negative electrode, and gain electrons, and they become reduced to an atom. Whereas the negative ions in the electrolyte, for instance, here our negative ion will be the chloride ion. Alright, so it will move towards the anode, the positive charged electrode, and lose electrons, so they become oxidized at the anode to form an atom, whereas the positive ions get reduced at the cathode to become what? An atom. Okay, so take note of this. Very, very important, guys. So basically, we can say that positive metal ions are reduced to the element at the cathode. For instance, a lead ion. Now, a lead is a metal, right? So a lead ion the two ions will gain electrons, 2 electrons at the cathode to be reduced to lead atom. Whereas a bromine ion, bromine is a non-metal, right? So it will have a negative charge. So a bromine ion will lose 2 electrons to form bromine molecule. Okay, so this is basically what's happening in an electrolytic cell. Okay, so the positive ions in the electrolyte will move towards the cathode, the negative electrode, just like here, the positive ion move towards the cathode, the negative electrode, and they get reduced here by gaining electrons to form an atom of the element, whereas the negative ions in the electrolyte will move towards the anode, the positive electrode, and they get oxidized there by losing electrons to form an atom of the elements. Okay, this is basically what you have to know about electrolysis in an electrolytic cell. Okay, now note again before I call it a class that when negative ions in the electrolyte move towards the anode, the positive electrode, and get oxidized, now by losing electrons, the kind of atom of the element they form is a molecule. So they form a gas. For instance, this bromine ion, the kind of atom is formed is a molecule, bromine gas. Had it been in a reaction of this sodium chloride, when chlorine in this sodium chloride electrolyte moves towards the positive electrode, that's the anode, the chlorine will get oxidized by losing electrons to form chlorine atom, but the kind of atom it will form will be its molecule. It will be a chlorine gas. So take notes of this, very, very important, guys. So when negative ions migrate or get attracted to the positive electrode, they get oxidized by losing electrons to form its molecule, the gaseous form of the atom. Okay, if oxygen goes to the anode, it will form oxygen gas. Very, very important. For instance, in a reaction of aluminium oxide, aluminium will move towards the negative electrode, that is the cathode, to get reduced to form aluminium atom, whereas the oxygen will move towards the positive electrode, that is the anode, to get oxidized to form oxygen gas, the gaseous form of atom. Okay, one more thing, note that if you are drawing an electrolytic cell, always include the DC power supply, which is the battery. For instance, in this electrolytic cell of hydrochloric acid we use as illustration, this is the DC power supply. Alright, so this is a positive terminal, whereas this is the negative terminal. So this is very important. Always include the DC power supply, the battery. So this is the battery, the DC power supply, and label the electrodes, the anode and the cathode. Very important. Now, an electrode is a solid that conducts electricity and is submerged in the electrolyte. Okay, so let's go to class here. I hope there's something interesting from this video. Now, if you are new to the channel, ensure you check the description of this video below. It's a link to our Telegram channel. Click on it and join the Telegram channel for instant notifications. Also, ensure that you are subscribed to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more videos like this. Like, share, and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel from what I learned from this class. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding this topic for your chemistry, feel free to leave your question at the comment section below, and I will ensure to give you a response. Okay, so let's call the class here, guys. Now click on the end screen above, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.